Take one.
You're watching the Questionnaire podcast.
What can they say?
You are checking out the Questionnaire.
What's your name again?
The Questionnaire.
Would you like to have questions?
I don't got it. I'm not that guy.
Submit yourself.
Super fun and entertaining.
This is the Questionnaire.
I can feel it start to form and take shape. Yeah! One hell of a quest, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're going to have form right here. It ain't going to go adrift. I really hope no asteroids cause any situations, and I don't care what you're up to. I don't care if your name is Scooby-Doo, right? Because it's a legion over here that makes this show run, right? And one of them, I'm really glad, Scott. I'm really, really glad, Scott. You're all right, man, Scott Wojak, right? Right? Because, man, I was a little. Trying to have. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm starting to think we're not going to get into that, right? We're going to get into other things with great things. We got a lot of things coming up here, man. But right now, what we're going to get into is Jack Briglio. Yeah, we're going to discuss all kinds of things with you, sir. But, Scott had to have a heart attack. So.
Yeah.
Right. What kind of crap? And
yeah. I was looking forward to seeing him again, and he goes and does that.
It was, look, he was so excited to talk to you again, Jack. You caused him a heart attack.
I know. Well, we'll have to wait to see. I think what that means is this next time, right? We'll see him next time.
Scott will definitely be back. Like I said, he's just got to recover, and he's doing well. We're all happy over here at the Questionnaire to hear that, man. Shout out to you, Scott. Like I said, keep getting well. I know he is. Yes. I've been talking to him, and like right now, hopefully when this quest drops. Yeah, hopefully you fully recovered, Scott, right? I mean, it won't be that long. Look, don't worry about how we film things over here for everybody out there watching. But for everybody out there watching, there's that pre-show questionnaire. You can go check out all the pre-show questionnaires over on our website. Sometimes we touch on things, sometimes we don't. It's more than anything. It's to just make the conversation more fluid. You know what I'm saying? And just give little tidbits for me to work off of, and sometimes for me to torment the people that come on here. But, yeah, one of the ones, there's two that I always kind of really try to pay attention to. One, what do you want to talk about? Because I figure I'm bringing you on here, try and know what you want to discuss. But we ain't getting into that one yet, because it's the other one. That sometimes there's real interesting, intriguing answers. That being, what don't you get to talk about often? Right? In vitro fertilization was discussed on, not beginning. I have too many people on, and that one's not out yet, and it hasn't been edited, and it'll be out soon. I think it's one back if memory serves properly, and life's been wild. I'm glad I was able to properly research this quest as opposed to the way someone's been running. But your answer was your children. And you said you had a special needs kid that was nonverbal. Can I ask how old?
He's 24.
Oh, okay. My boy's 6 and he's autistic.
Okay.
And it very much was an issue like we were worried about early on. Thankfully, in the long run, he took after his father, and now he doesn't shut up.
Yeah.
What was that like, man? Especially because I can't remember what book of it was yours that you said was based on that.
Here, Thunderboom, yeah.
Thunderboom, yes.
Yeah, Thunderboom, yep. Yeah.
Give me a quick pitch to Thunderboom, Jack.
Yeah, so Thunderboom's about an 11-year-old nonverbal boy who uses his imagination to deal with real world problems. It was inspired, obviously inspired by my son, and him being nonverbal as well. And I just remember stories that I was reading inspired by Scott McCloud's Zot. I don't know if you remember, if you've ever read Zot or Calvin and Hobbes. I think everybody's read a Calvin and Hobbes. That kind of idea of fantasy reality. That was the way I wanted to tell a story about my son. Tell a superhero story, which growing up reading superhero comics all these years, something I wanted to do, and just kind of entertain and telling a superhero story, but also give some insight into a voice that just really not really heard in a lot of books in a lot of places. So that's where that came from, and I was really glad I was able to write that kind of story about it too. Right, not one that was just straight reality, but being able to tell a fun adventure that that can be read by all ages. It's a middle grade book, but I think anyone can read it. Just tell an entertaining superhero adventure where you can get some insights on what it's like for a kid who's got to find different ways to communicate, right? Try to find different ways to communicate because he can't speak. So yeah, and then it taps into a lot of the stuff that as parents we dealt with growing up, him growing up, and us, facing his challenges in dealing with life. So yeah. A story obviously near and dear to my heart, and glad it's in the world for others to read and enjoy and hopefully learn from too.
No, that sounds phenomenal, Jack. I love that and the inspiration of it and where it came from, especially like I said, having a son that is special needs, because I think it's important that when you have a child like that, to make it to where you're not making that their identity. You realize that they are more than that, and how their thought processes are. And then the fact that they're autistic, they're not verbal, they're any other spectrum of anything, whatever you want to say, that doesn't mean that that's what that person is, that person is so much more than that. That's just something that they have to deal with respectively in the path that they've been given, that they've been laid before them. And I think that's absolutely phenomenal. How old was your kid when you wrote this?
So it was when I wrote it, I guess he was probably were like 16, 17, 18 when I first draft. Yeah. So the book came out in 2023. Takes a few years before the production and all that. But yeah, so I wanted to start at least with telling a story earlier days. I mean, with the experiences, like there's a whole lot of story I can tell, and I was able to tell one piece of it with this story. I mean, the story is sort of like a coming of age story for the character Logan.
Shut up. No. What was the character's name?
Logan. Yeah. Cool name, right?
I told you to shut up for a reason. You just I love me some Wolverine, and that's the coolest dude I know. And I ain't talking about James. For anybody that caught that really, really deep comic book reference, I'm just talking about Logan, right? Now, I want to know, when you say nonverbal, there are levels of that. Like, is he able to read and write and such, and he just can't speak verbally?
I mean, he can understand. He can understand what he see. He's not he can't read. He can't read comics or books but he can look at pictures, and like his receptive is quite good. But I wouldn't say that. Yeah, I can't give him a book to read. He'll watch lots of video though. Like, he's on YouTube all the time, and he'll that sort of thing. But yeah, his receptive is strong, but in terms of being able to how he communicates, obviously it's with sounds, it's with pointing, it's with limited signs because his fine motor, gross motor skills aren't as they're developed, but they're not, they're not so developed that he can do all the fine sign language.
Hey,
so, but he has his own language for a lot of things.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen someone sign Eminem. All right, that gets real intricate, and I still can't believe they were capable of signing Eminem. But that's not, if any of this, if you're like, dude, you're getting too personal, just let me know. But again, this is something that I share. Like I said, I've had I'm like, my boy's autistic, and I went through a lot as far as all the therapies and all of that. And I know when it's nonverbal, that there are several different levels of that. Sometimes it's using a tablet and they're able to press words and this and that. And that's why I was curious, because I was just wondering if he was able to give you any input into the book from his, you know what I mean? Like if there was like that, and I didn't know what that level was. So I wanted to, and again, you have to figure that out.
Yeah. Not to the level where he gave input, but he's aware of it, and like he knows the book, and he knows when I say Thunderboom, he stomps his feet. I mean, a lot of his, like the superpower that Thunderboom, that Logan, when he transforms into Thunderboom is really totally based on him, because he's got flat feet and he, walks up and down the stairs or across the hallway, stomp, and that was really probably the starting point of what the superhero character power would be. I say, he's got to be a stomper because of that. So when he back to whether he knows about it, he does. I mean, I've done a number of things to promote the book, and he sees it all over. He's here and stuff. And I always showed him whenever there, anyone brought it up, his ears would perk up and he would react to it. So I mean, it's really amazing, like what nonverbal having a son that's nonverbal, what it's taught me. I mean, me growing up reading comics and all that stuff, it's learning a different language, really, right? Because it really it really is a lot to learn, and we've learned a lot over the years, and how we see it when new people meet him, and trying to get them to understand, okay, this is how he communicates. This means this means that, because it's not always perfect to sign language. So even if someone who understands sign language, well, he might not necessarily sign exactly like what all the different signs are for sign language. So, and you mentioned like tablets and stuff. There's a system of applications on there, like Proloquo and other apps on there, and he does use some of it, but I wouldn't say enough to a degree where he communicates in great detail, I guess, with it. But yeah, I mean, obviously having a tablet, super helpful, not just for communication, but obviously, gives him stuff to do too as well when he's at home and, hanging out and stuff. So yeah, it's that kind of thing, pretty cool. Anyways.
So, no, man. It's a lovely and I think very important conversation. It's probably not the one you expected, but that's where we went with it. Jack, this is the questionnaire. I have the stage name I do for a reason, but with that book, how did you incorporate raising him as a parent? Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm in the middle of writing something I really need to finish and get to someone, and that's whatever. But just in the writing process, how did you find yourself incorporating the difficulties that you had? As well as, I want to point out, you said learning about how to like treat and understand him as an individual. We just need to do that with everyone, period, you ever bloody well meet, and we'd all get along better. I'm just saying. back to my question.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it was challenging. What I had to do is I had to remember the story's focus was about him, because I could totally write a whole different book about
I bet
what
you
we
could.
Yeah, right. About what we deal with as parents, raising him, and you know that sort of thing. So, although we did try to have that in this book. I remember probably one of my first drafts. It was I probably had more instances where I had things that had to do more with the parental challenges versus what he was dealing with, and I think in the editing stages we scaled some of that back. But the thing at the end of the day, the thing you had to focus on is this was a story about him. It was a coming of age story. Yes, he had to see the challenges of how the parents deal with things. And I mean, really, I can say briefly a little bit about the plot. I mean, the story starts with them going to the train station, one of his favorite things. They go on a trip to go see a Santa Claus parade, and then they lose him, right? So parental stress, no kidding, right? Something that anyone can relate to. That's what triggers all the superhero adventures that then follow, because he's got to deal with this stressful real world scenario. And so there's a lot of interactions where you see the stresses of the parents, and also the interactions, like you said, the interactions, good and bad, from other folks that he encounters, those who interact well with him and those who don't. So yeah, kind of that, good and evil in that way, right? So yeah, it was really trying to, like I said, focus on his arc rather than, this isn't a story about me. This is a story about Logan, obviously inspired by myself. Telling how he, just deals with the real world with his abilities the way they are. So yeah, no, I thought that's what would make it such an interesting book that I think anyone could read and hopefully relate in some way to, even if it's not relatable directly. I think there's a lot of good that comes from a story like this, right? For people to read and enjoy, or that's my hope, anyways.
So when are you making the parenting version of this book?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'd love to, honestly. I'd love to do something. Well, mind you, I'd love to do sequels to Thunderboom. That's another thing too. I'd love to continue to tell stories in that world. But even aside from that, I have thought of things of, okay, what sort of stories can I tell where I can tell it from the parental side? It would probably be a lot more adult, and do a story that way. So yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
A lot more adult? Like, what are you trying to throw into this book, Jack?
Well, no, nothing X-rated, but no, just.
I wasn't taking it that far. I meant like, good God, Jack.
Yeah.
I meant
we'll
like,
bring it back.
We'll
bring it back to PG. Yeah,
like,
we'll bring it back to
PG. let's. God, I meant like, maybe violence and swearing a lot, and you're just like, let's take it to friggin' what's the name of that? With strip? No, the whatever. I don't remember the name of that film, and I can't, and it's irrelevant. It was the girl from Saved by the Bell who did a film, and it was X-rated.
Striptease.
Striptease. I was right. It was Striptease. Yeah. I wanted to say that, but I didn't. And I love how I gave that description, and you went,
"Oh, it's that one." Oh yeah, I never saw it, but I never saw it. But, you know.
You never saw it. If for nothing else, for the scene in the pool, no one does that like that, and that's all that I'm saying. And for anyone that sees it, I hope you laugh at that and pictured that moment and go, "Yeah, I've never seen anyone like." No, it doesn't happen. But Reservoir Dogs,
Yeah.
best crime
It's smart.
film.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Smart.
that's
Yeah.
that's and just
When I first saw it, like, I mean, Tarantino's a genius, and yeah, I mean, well done crime film, and I mean, just the dialogue. I master at dialogue too. I mean, I just love well scripted films. So like Tarantino, David Mamet. There's other guys like that. I mean, I'm just lucky that I got to see it, as I was growing up, and hit me there. Now it's interesting. I don't know. I haven't watched it in a while. I'd be real interested to see what somebody, this day and age sees that for the first time, and if it rocks their world like it did when I first saw it, right? And others like me, that's the first time, right? Yeah.
I can't remember. I'm gonna drive my why. I can't remember the name of the actor. Plays the Abomination now, and he's Four Rooms and
For
he
Yeah,
plays the Abomination in the MCU now. He's in Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
We both suck at names. Awesome.
Yeah,
you
we
know who
do.
you know who I'm talking to, Jack. If you're in the comments and you want to get mad about it, I don't care. He ain't been on the show. I just watch him as an entertainer and know him as an actor and go, oh, he's in that? Cool. I'll go check it out. And Reservoir Dogs is what caused that. Which, have you ever seen Four Rooms?
I have. Long time ago now, though. So long. But yes.
Those are two films you need to go watch again, Jack. They're freaking,
Yeah.
They're lovely. They're lovely. All right. Well, hey, let's get to your other kid's book before we get into something else. All right. Growing Up Enchanted.
Yeah.
Give me the pitch. I just walked up to your table with a 6-year-old Jack, with a 6-year-old that looks like he wants to read. How do you get him to go, ooh, Daddy, I want that one?
Yeah, it's a fantasy adventure. It's about a little girl. And now is it a 6-year-old boy or a 6-year-old girl? I would slant it differently if it was, because all I would say is
it's my boy, man. Yeah, that's my boy.
Yeah. Okay. So they probably be more interested in the younger brother. That's because Oleana is the star of Growing Up Enchanted. She's learning magic from her mother, who's a sorceress, and her father, who's a knight. So she's learning to use magic and having to deal with her younger brother, Anto, who is a pain in her behind. So the first book is a good introduction to all the characters. There's dragons, trolls, giants, all sorts of good fun. And actually, the first book deals with her first day at school, and a regular school, not a magic school or anything like that. But she's learning magic on the side, and she uses her magic to get herself obviously out and into trouble. So yeah, it's a fun fantasy adventure with that has a couple of plots that intersect, but it's all about what the title says: growing up. It's all about growing up and dealing with, actually in that book, dealing with bullies, dealing with at school, and dealing with a father who hunts dragons, and she doesn't want those dragons to be hunted because she wants them to be. One of the dragons is a friend of hers, so she befriends them. So it's good fun.
That makes that very, very intriguing. But let me ask, the level of magic, is it Harry Potter or is it Harry Dresden?
It's pretty basic. I mean, but
you know what I mean by that, right?
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like is it? Look, I will blow God up. Do you understand me? Or is it?
Yeah.
I can abracadabra some crap.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's definitely
It's
you know,
abracadabra some crap. It's
abracadabra.
okay.
Oh, I'm
Just
gonna create some problems here. I'm gonna disappear over there. I mean, the dragon. How she deals with how she deals with this dragon that's being hunted that she doesn't want to be hunted by her father is she turns him invisible and intangible, and that's how that's how it deals with it. So, for a good chunk of the book, we've got an invisible, intangible dragon creating all sorts of good hijinks all across the way. And the father also has three bumbling knights that also add some good humor throughout the story. And hey, I mean, it's a book that it was one of the first books I wrote, actually. So I mean, it's what got me into the industry. It's actually the book. It was nominated. It was nominated for an Eisner way back in the day, and that's what led to me getting my work at DC Comics. 15 or so years ago, however long it's been now, and so it's kind of it's something that obviously still means a lot to me because it was the first book that got me noticed and got me into doing a lot of other work in the industry. Now I just brought the books back because those books were originally in black and white. Now those books in black and white back in the early 2000s, there was a lot more black and white books than there are now. So I finally have color editions now because after 20 years of hearing people going, "Oh, this would be great in coloring," or in color, or "Hey, I can get my kids to color this." It's like, okay, let's get this book colored and create some color editions. So yeah, we have.
See, but what you don't know, right there, Jack, you missed a marketing opportunity, right? You had it to where you needed to get it in color and then get a little coloring book to go with it.
That's right.
You know what
That's
I
right.
mean? Yeah, right. And also,
Right.
just to point out, when I said
That's
hocus
right.
pocus crap, as opposed to I'll blow, like I didn't mean that any disrespectful. I just mean, there's levels when we're talking about fantasy in Magic. Is it the dude that you have to worry about like unmaking reality, or is it hocus pocus crap?
Yeah.
Like the movie Hocus Pocus or Harry Potter. You know,
Yeah.
like because I'd way rather deal with that than like the crap that Dresden and Constantine deal with. Like I'm good, or even for that matter, Doctor Strange, even though his is kind of in the midst. I would say it's not really like Dresden Constantine, but it's not Harry Potter. Like here's Harry Potter. Here's Constantine. And Strange is like right about here.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's not as dark. You ever
That's right.
within that when you got into DC, what was that experience like? Especially the era that you were getting into. That's a very interesting era, I think, to step into comics, especially the big two, because it was right after the bubble. There were a lot of big shifts going on. I think like there were so many changes right around the early 2000s that were going on within Marvel and DC respectively. Like they just pretty much completely stopped working with one another. Like there were a lot of things. Jack, how was that?
I mean, I only worked there for like a couple of years of total. I was probably from 2007 to probably around 2010 where I did do the Scooby-Doo stuff and the Legion of Superheroes and the 31st Century, doing that work. But yeah, it was an interesting time because it's true. It was back when conventions, let's just even say, they were just starting to blow up, like because at that time it was, you had San Diego, you had Chicago, and you had cons in Toronto, and honestly, that's how a Toronto show was how I eventually made that connection with Growing Up Enchanted and getting gigs at DC. So there was this big boom because early 2000s was also when the New York Comic Con started, and I started going to those shows. I think I did the first 5 years of New York Comic Con, and I would go there, and I would try to go to DC. And once I made the connections, I was able to go to DC and actually go to the DC offices. So it was pretty cool those few years. But honestly, I didn't do enough work in DC to really get I would say a full feel of how things were going, especially in the I would say in the mainstream DCU, because I was still working, doing Scooby-Doo and Legion, and I was hoping to build off of that, but that ended up didn't end up going further than it did. So but yeah, it was interesting times. It was I figure now it's a lot harder because remember then they still had offices in New York, and now everything's West Coast, and for DC anyways, right? Marvel is still in New York, but
which is amazing, but that's a different note altogether.
Yeah.
It's the biggest part of Hollywood in modern history. They have an office in New York. Why?
Yeah.
They own they own Hollywood. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, exactly.
We need to restart this whole commercial because people could probably hear Pokemon in the background.
Please check out this amazing promotion that we have prepared with the questionnaire.
I'm the unknown factor. This right here is the obscure fragment.
Are watching this show
Yeah, I'll do editing.
with the questionnaire.
So we've edited this awesome commercial together, y'all.
90% off.
We are not giving 90% off.
No, I mean 9.
How about 20?
The only thing that you have to do is enter that code that you have right there.
9.
No, 20.
10.
How about 20?
I'm printing your comics today with Studio Comics Press.
Just use this code right here, right here, right here. Look, I put it somewhere. All right, it's probably actually right here, right. It's right under your chin. It says Quest 24.
That code you gotta enter in our website, and then you will get a whipping discount of 20% in any of the items or products that we have on the website.
9.
20.
9.
20%.
9.
All right.
9.
He wants to give you 9% off. I, as well as Alfonso over there on Studio Comics, want to give you 20% off.
You can get it right there with this amazing code. Just enter it right here. Yeah, just right there. There.
Use that code over at Studio Comics to get 20% off.
Thank you very much. This is a special one for all our friends of the questionnaire.
Type in Quest 24 when you check out, man. You can figure out the percentage you'll get right then because it'll show in your order.
Yeah,
right?
9% off.
It's 20%.
The Questionnaire, the best current comic book podcast existing around.
So happy to have Studio Comics as our very, very first sponsor. Say Studio Comics!
Studio Comics!
Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and do all the stuff that you have to do.
I'm the Unknown Factor with the Questionnaire. Make sure you check it out.
Exactly.
Like, how many actors are sitting there like, ooh, I want to do a Marvel film? I can imagine that list is very, very extensive.
And it was also before the big explosion of superhero films and the Marvel universe of films. So that's why that split was. Now everybody sees it as natural, but then it was like, well, no, book publishers hang out in New York. Most book publishers were in New York City, so that included comic books, and that was always the way until they managed to until superhero films became as big as they did, and what Marvel was able to do with it. It was like, oh yeah, totally.
So, so with that, I got to bring up a point made by Spencer Gomez on a couple past quests ago. You can go check it out. It's just a few past quests in this season 3 right there. And a note, because just from the conversation we're having, which is the era that you're referring to when you got in. Like, that's right around when Blade came out? No, Blade was a little bit before that. Blade was like 97, 98.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said 2000.
2007 was when I started. Yeah, it was probably my first work for DC. Yeah, 2007. Yeah. because I did, and Growing Up Enchanted was like 2003. So yeah, 2007. Yep.
Okay, so good God, that was right when Hollywood was taking over conventions. Because I
That's right.
remember when Blade initially came out, I remember going to Chicago Wizard World. Isn't that funny? I don't exist no more.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
the Blade motorcycles there, I literally have a foam of the Blade discs that he throws in the opening scene, that I got from there that I don't know how survived from when I got it to now with the life that I've lived, but that's neither here nor there. So yeah, I mean, that, because it went, Blade was where it started. And in those, 10, 12 years, God, dude, when you stepped into a convention and it was DC, I mean, that was right around the time of The Dark Knight, wasn't it? And the Batman Begins films.
Yeah. So it was, like it was more of that than, because so those connect, like I remember New York Comic Con, especially the first few, were so book centric, and then slowly, and as the years progressed, and as I started to go away from doing those shows every year, it got more and more Hollywood as the years progressed into the 2010s and to where we are now. So it was an interesting and different time, and also just to see how conventions in general just kind of exploded, because for the longest time it was just, like I said, just one or two or three, and there weren't many. And the fact, and now here we are today, where there's a show every weekend somewhere, or more.
Do you think that has a lot to do with the fact that, like we were discussing, look, man, when I went to that Wizard World where it was Blade, there weren't a whole lot of actors and voice actors. I mean, there were a couple. David. I can't remember his last name. The dude that was in the suit that played Darth Vader. The guy that played Boba Fett, whose signature I have up on my wall over here of him fighting aliens from when I got it. I mean, there's a couple Star Wars people. I think there might have been someone from, but it's not like it was now. I feel like that's become different because every one of these conventions features voice actors and typically actors, this, that. That's become way more prevalent. It's funny, though, at the same time, if you look at that, like you say, Hollywood invaded conventions. Didn't comics kind of really invade the crap out of Hollywood? Because there are people that have consumed comic book stories, and they have no freaking idea that they have, Jack. None at all.
Yeah.
Like, how many people you think is like, oh, Johnny Depp's got a new movie. I'll go watch From Hell.
Yeah, and they have no idea where it came from. Exactly, right? Right. Yeah.
Right over their head. Right.
Yeah.
So with that, let me bring up the point that Vince Gomez made that I want your opinion on, which he said that he found the internet presence seemed far more substantial and helpful to him in his career than going to conventions. Now, in saying this, he's like, I think one of the most important things is going to conventions. A writer can meet an artist. Because my point, because I asked him, do you think a convention in that case is more important for a writer than it is an artist? Because as a writer, you have to present a story. I think it's more difficult to present a story than a picture online. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because then you got to convince people to read words. If they're scrolling and there's a picture there, either they think it looks cool and it doesn't, and their brain's making a decision instantaneously without having to read a paragraph.
Exactly. I mean, that's where the advantage that artists had at going to shows to try to get work. It was always, I mean, I tried, I did several San Diegos where I was trying to get work as a writer. I remember one of my first San Diego shows where, there were folks like a young Kurt Busiek, a young Neil Gaiman that were there, and, in their early infancies of their careers. And me, I was just trying to, is this, how do I get in? And it's exactly that. All you do at these shows is, glad hand and, shake hands, and hopefully they remember you so that you can talk to them when you follow up, right? And hopefully you've made some sort of impression, because you can't send them, you can't pitch them, and you can't send them drop off a sheet of paper saying, read that when you have a chance, please.
No, man, you throw a comic book. You didn't like, because I mean, this is something that I've heard several writers do in the span of the show, is just literally giving a comic book to those people.
Yeah.
Now, I have heard at times from other creators that, like, if someone hands them a comic, depending on their position within those bigger two, they might not be able to read it.
Yeah. I never really pushed hard to dropping off comics. I just didn't think it would happen at shows, because they're doing a bunch of different things. So the last thing in our mind is making sure that, this thing you just dropped off is going to stay in my suitcase. That's got a ton of others. It's so it was. I knew early on that it was never going to be a thing going to shows that I would. I learned very early that wasn't the place for it. You had to send emails or cold call, whatever. However you had contact information, whether it was through email or some other methods. When I started, there wasn't social media to search out folks, right? So it was snail mail and email were the ones, right? So
I keep joking all the time, like, imagine trying to run this show with snail mail, and all it would really go, and it's funny if you think about it, like, let's say that happened, what it would turn into is just the questionnaires, and I would have to get a whole crew, and then I guess this is the Questionnaire magazine, and I took the spot of wizard, because it's what it would be, ostensibly, and then I have to include a price guide, and I'm not doing all that crap, so, like, let's not, as a society, make this so bad that the infrastructure collapses. That's all I'm saying, and I don't want to get any more into that. What I want y'all to do is know that you can go save 20% on comics right now from Studio Comics. Check this out. That was me just randomly cutting to a commercial at 45 minutes. Hey, baby.
Yeah.
Can you send me a message that says Jack 45 minutes? That's a note from my editor.
Okay, cool.
All right. Yeah. See, we're back, and you can just like use the code that was in the thing for the thing, or you can go and click on the link, get some of Jack's work, right? Which we're gonna get more into now. Dominion Jack. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's was that an original creation of your? No, that's a character. Oh, no, okay. See, what am I thinking? Look, man, I'm thinking of something else because there are so many books out there, and for some reason okay, I know what I was thinking of. Right? You ever play with free to use stuff? Like what's the word?
No.
What's you know what I mean? Like Dracula and stuff such as that. Yeah. You ever end up playing with characters like that at
No, not no.
So in all your works, you've never been like, I'm going to throw in a mummy or Frankenstein. You write a superhero book.
Zombies. I've had zombies.
Okay, that's
Dracula. Have I had a vampire? I'm trying to think. Yeah, zombies for sure. I've written a zombie short story for sure, and have had zombies in some of my stories. Yeah, but I'm trying to think of everything else. Yeah, you know what? Something I gotta.
That's really because there's so many things in it. Why I can't think of the freaking terminology that I'm wanting. It's like. It means it's not under copyright anymore, and it doesn't matter, They're like, oh, what's the word I'm looking for, Jack? Do you know? Like Mickey Mouse just had it happen. They're about to have it happen with Superman.
The The rights expiring, like the copyright you're talking about?
Yeah, but what is that called when that happens? It becomes public domain. Good.
Public
God.
domain. Public domain. That's it. Public domain.
Oh. Don't you hate when your brain won't summon a word for the moment that you want it? What do you do when that happens to you as a writer?
It's frustrating as hell. Holy cow! When there's something and you know it, and you just it feels like it's just there, and you're reaching and go, why isn't it coming to me? Why isn't that word? It's right there. And yeah, I get it.
I know. I just did it. Like everyone just witnessed that moment happen because my brain could not think of public domain.
Yeah. And my brain is super slow. I haven't been as helpful as I could be, and I'm sorry for that.
Thanks, Jack. Jack's over here not doing Jack, but back to Dominion Jack.
Back to Dominion Jack, yes.
What brought that about? Why did you name the character after yourself?
Yeah, you know what? I tell myself it's not vanity. I tell myself it just sounded right when I was trying to come up with a name with this Canadian. I wanted to create a Canadian superhero. I think originally, if I remember correctly, the name I'd come up for this character was Doc United, but that sounded too pulpy and just didn't feel right. And then I was trying to connect it to Canada. So Dominion made sense because of Canada was the Dominion of Canada before it became its own country. So I thought, okay, Dominion, that works for Canada, and also for his powers, because his powers are like getting dominion over people's skill sets, right? Because Dominion Jack is able to tap into, he was kind of like the Animal Man for people powers. So, any skill that he could pull if he wanted to be super strong, well, he'd tap into the skills of, a bodybuilder or 10 bodybuilders or, 100 people, that sort of thing. So Dominion made sense. And then Jack just seemed to ring really well. And like I said, I don't think it was vanity, but it just sounded right. At the time I said, yeah, Dominion Jack, that's the name. And I went with that. So yeah, you gave me a look.
I don't know that I buy that, Jack.
It's good, right? Dominion Jack just rolls off the tongue. It just rolls off the tongue.
I think you're selling some Jack. You know what I mean? Dominion Jim sounds just fine.
Just fine too, huh? Yeah. Nah, needs some Jack. That's right. Anyways.
Hey, look, I stopped that like a while ago because I got rid of something else. So Jack and Jim ain't my friend no more.
No more. Got it.
All right. God, I'm just trying to mess with me here. I swear. All right, yeah. Hey. So I'm just gonna jump around all kind of places because that's what we do. All right. So with that, you've created a superhero. You've worked on some kids books that I'll find phenomenal. Again, you can find links in the description to everything we discussed here for everyone out there listening. But another thing you've done is translating and kind of interpreting other stories. I know Space Dump is one that I've had the chance to read, or at least most of, right? Also, now that you give me a pitch for Dominion Jack, I was like, oh yeah, you sent an issue of that, and I read it, and it was really good, but that's besides the point, neither here nor there. And I hate reading digitally. Digitally doesn't sustain as well in my head, I'm going to be real honest.
You know what? It doesn't for me as well. I find you're right. You're right. It doesn't stick. It doesn't stick the same way as a book does. I agree.
Yeah. I don't like. I hate. Look, if there is anything that should not be consumed in a digital manner, I think it's comics. Like, that is art and story, and it should be properly in front of you, not on the screen. And I will always adhere to the fact until they make it to where it is straight like Tony Stark, and I got this thing, and it's and I can make it either to where I can see through it or it's solid and looks like it is. I can touch it. I ain't reading comics like that. All right.
Yeah.
Like that's literally what it's gonna take. Right. But back to my point. What was the difference as far as in working with that and a story that already been and just trying to interpret it and make it to where it worked fully in a different language as opposed to, spitballing whatever you wanted?
Yeah, like it's it's a different skill set. It's more on the editing side, right? Where and also depending on the type of translation you're doing, because different works, you can be translating directly from, in this case, Italian to English, and, or in other cases, I've also done proofreading or proofreading / edits where it's already been translated, but I look at both and try to improve it. So it's a fine line, like, and especially with being a writer who writes his own stuff too. You want to make sure that your voice isn't taking over the voice of the author in question, right? So there's a couple of things in play. You got to make sure that you're translating it properly, and you're also then trying to see that it still makes sense in the language that it's been translated to. Because sometimes some of the things that sounds perfectly fine in Italian or whatever language doesn't work in the same way in English. So you've got to come up with other ways to make it work. So
all right,
there's a definite art to it, and like I said, a very fine line that you kind of try to walk to make sure that you stay close, you stay true to the book.
Well, look though, no, the way you said that, Jack, I gotta know. What's that thing in this process that you've ran across where you're like, oh my God, I can't, no, I gotta flip this or change it, or like, is there one that you were like, what?
Yeah.
Google Translate, no.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure, there were some where I was going, and and you're doing things that you'd be doing as a writer as well, right? Because the writing process of comics is you write the script, right, for the artist, and you're supposed to be collaborating with the artist, right? So artist brings his things to her things to the table. It comes back probably in a different way than you had ever intended in that initial draft. And you know what? Probably it's 10 times better. And that's great. But then you got to change it. Right? And so in a lot of the same ways, you get those feelings as well. So like as scripts change, once you see the art and you get to the art stage, and the script will change for the better, and that improves the story and makes it the better. You're doing the same sort of thing in translation, because you're going, okay, yeah, this does not translate. I don't think this is what this doesn't hit the same way as it would have hit to an Italian reader. So yeah, I'm gonna either change it entirely, or maybe something very similar, but add some more context or something else to it, just to give it a little more meat, but still trying to stay true to the story. And that happens a lot, right? Because
I gotta know. Come on, man. Is there one that sticks out that you had to deal with that you're just like, son of a?
Trying to think of one where, like a lot of it was things got really repetitive, and like I'm translating for a writer friend, Marcello Bondi, who I've translated a lot of his work, and I'll see a lot of the same things, some strand, some pieces of work, just things like, oh, you bastard, or something like that. And just things like that. I'll see. Okay, he's saying this again. Yeah, let's just change it up. And that, that's something that's generic enough, right? Where you're going, well, it doesn't have to be that this time. So it's just coming up with a different profanity that works for that situation, right? So it's stuff like that, right? It's like, okay, yeah, gotta mix it up, because you don't want to. Oh, this story is X amount of pages long, and he said it on page 1. Oh, don't want to say it again on page 10. Change it up.
And as a fan of Quentin Tarantino, you should be well armed in that regard.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's. Oh man, so. What's the thing with everything you've done at this point? From your own solo work, you got to handle some of the bigger DC characters. You got to play with Scooby-Doo. My son would be like, for real? Like, he would be amazed at that. I want to let you know. Because that's... Yeah. I got my boy to get to buy... Like, he got to buy a comic at a gas station.
Okay.
And that was recently. And he picked out the Scooby-Doo versus the Scooby-Doo Batman one. So...
Right.
Yeah. And just the fact that my boy, who again is 6, got a chance to buy a comic at a gas station. That in itself is never a statement I thought I would get to make.
Exactly. In 2026. Right.
Yeah, man. So look, DC did it right. They did a reprints of a bunch of like first issues of their really big stories, and they put them in poly bags, and they put them in little like pre-made cardboard. And just throw them in the stores. I don't know why Marvel hasn't done it yet. I feel like if Marvel did that, and it's like, hey, look, it's Secret Invasion, it's Civil War, it's Thor Ragnarok, they beat DC with that move, because all of those comics are the names of movies. Here's Secret Wars. Here's, like, you tell me if they did that and they put out Secret Wars with a bunch of other stuff. So many people will be like, the movie's coming out. I want to see what this is.
Yep.
I don't know why they haven't taken advantage of that. That's, again, neither here nor there. And I digress far too much, Jack, because it's what I do. There was one other thing. What was it? Yeah, no? See? This is where Scott was supposed to be here. To, like, give me a second to look at something. While he asked some question I wouldn't think of. But no. He had to go and have a Widowmaker heart attack.
Yeah. Scott, we miss you. But come on, next time. For the full experience.
Yeah, and I'm starting to think when I cut to that commercial, I should have done something I didn't do. Right? So, oh, that's what I wanted to pick your bone about. Yeah, right? Firstly, you're totally right, dude. I've had people be like, take the horse-sized ant, and like, you want the horse-sized ant? That seems dangerous, man. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't know. That's not a terrible question either way, because I think it was. I don't even remember who I was talking to, and I was like, all right, how about 500? And they were like, that's simple. I was like, how about 10,000? They were like, whoa. I was like, how about 5,000? And they were like, and they started thinking about it. And I was like, all right, that's the question then, because 500 was not enough. 10,000 was way too many. Go to the website. You can see what the hell I'm talking about, because these pre-show questionnaires there, and I know that didn't explain anything. But, who am I to explain anything? That's not what I'm here for. What I'm here for is I want you to explain why you got a problem with the Phantom Menace. The Phantom Menace has the best lightsaber fight in Star Wars, period. You hear me? Period. I ain't a Star Wars fan. Maybe that's what it is. I ain't real like, I'm a Trekkie. Ooh, I'm into Star Wars. Like, I think they're both respectively all great properties. Like, there are Star Wars films that I really, really enjoy. There are Star Trek films that I really, really, really enjoy. That is the best lightsaber fight out of any lightsaber fight. How you gonna say the Phantom Menace, man? Plus, Ray Park is like the sweetest dude in history. Plus, he could beat up like 50 people at once with a stick. How you gonna hate on Phantom Menace, man? What's wrong with you, Jack? I need to know.
Sorry, man. I you know, it happened. I mean, I like I love I saw Star Wars in the theaters. I remember. Did I see Empire Strikes Back in the theaters? I think so too. But
Oh man.
honestly, I agree with you, Jay. I love pieces of Star Trek and Star Wars, but I was never growing up. I talk to people that are huge fans of Star Wars or huge fans of Star Trek, and they seem to be more huge fans of those pieces than of reading DC superheroes or Marvel superheroes. And for me, growing up, it was always about the comics. So I think that was always the thing. I was more interested in seeing my comics I read, like DC characters or Marvel characters, make it onto the animation screen or the movie screen or that sort of thing. So it's sad it took so long that later in life, rather than when, in the 80s, there was only Star Wars and, all the other types that tried to ape the same thing. But I just never, I was never one of those that jumped, was waiting, impatiently for more Star Wars. So yeah, when I saw Phantom Menace, I was kind of like, yeah, okay. But I just never been, it had been too long, I think, for me, is what ended up being the problem. And yeah. So, and I just, the X-Men, Daredevil, Flash, Superman, Batman, Green Lantern, all these characters that I grew up reading. Those are the ones that is like, why aren't there TV shows or films of these things? And well, now in 2026, it's happening. But 1980s me, 1990s me didn't have as much of a choice, as
Yeah, in the
everybody today.
80s, what you had like the Captain America and Spider-Man made for TV films, the Hulk TV show, the original Batman TV show. It was all very campy and different. I mean, the Hulk TV show, I think,
And those shows, no real supervillains like the Hulk and like it wasn't enough. It wasn't comic book. That's what made comic books so unique, right?
the Batman had real supervillains.
Batman did, but
show.
other
but
other than Batman, yeah.
Yeah, not even the Dolph Lundgren Frank Castle. They didn't even give him a real villain. It was like a generic Yakuza gang or something.
Right.
And you know what else? You know what else? What was the first R-rated Marvel film? Or what was? No, I take that back. What was the first R-rated comic book film to ever exist?
It wasn't Blade, was it? No, before Blade. No.
That's what Google will tell you.
Yeah, I don't think it's right.
No, it's not. It's Dolph Lundgren's The Punisher.
The Punisher. Okay, yeah, okay, because I guess it is. Yeah,
It's no credit. Google ain't even got it right, but this is the Quest, and I know what's up, man, because that's the first rated R film I ever seen, right? And hey, we ain't talking sports because I only watch wrestling. But I will say, I want to know why so many people with this question are like, I'm just going to choose a place that I can go live for 5 minutes. Because in 5 minutes, I'll be dead. Because I'm a normal person in Gotham or DC and Marvel. Only one person is ever selected. I mean, in New York and Marvel. Only one person is ever selected to go to New York and Marvel. But you selected the equivalent of going to New York and Marvel, which is Metropolis. And you're going to get smashed by something and you're never going to know. And everybody's like, oh, there's Superman. Look, when Doomsday came, a lot of people died.
Yeah.
You're going to die in some weird, and no. Everybody's... Then some people are smart. They're like, I'll go to Garfield or like... Not even
somewhere where there aren't any heroes. for me, Metropolis was because of all the cool futuristic things that made Metropolis. I just thought Metropolis would be a cooler city to live in than you know. I'm sure Gotham and Metropolis are the two choices on the, especially on the DC side, right? So it's like, for me, yeah, no, Metropolis would be cool to visit. Would be a cool place to hang out in.
I've only had one person once say Gotham City.
Yeah, because, geez.
And I'm like, why?
Why? Yeah.
Why? Out of every
Are you living
universe.
Crime Alley? Crime Alley? Is that where you want to live? Crime? How about
like, you know what? I'm going to go to Sin City. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
I haven't had anyone select that one yet. If someone goes Sin City, I'm going to be afraid to have a quest with them because... Well, why do you want to go to Sin City? Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And hey, you selected, in my opinion, I do want to point out, one of two powers that in this Earth that we live would be the most helpful. You know that?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, just sheer, like, you could get things done. Oh, life would be so much simpler. The other one is that of Jamie Madrox, because how convenient would that be? You know, send 3 of you out, and then at the end of the day, absorb everyone. And you know everything that happened in 4, like, 12 to 16-hour periods, whatever. That's phenomenal.
That's similar to super speed. So yeah, it's a same type of advantages. With
and I think with Jamie Madrox, the main advantage compared to super speed is you're not gonna freak people out unless they catch to where there's like 2 of you, and that's fine. You can say, "Oh, we're twins," but if there's 4 of you, you're probably gonna get caught by the government. If you have super speed, you're probably not gonna get caught because you can run that damn fast. You know, like I'll be honest though, if you're gonna give me super speed, just give me the speed force, but don't give me the speed force. I will break something that is unfixable.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What level of super speed do you want, Jack? You want like, ooh, you can run around really fast, or you want like you can time travel fast?
Time travel fast would be fun. Yeah. I like stop time. Yeah.
But think about it, Jack. Think about it. You've read comics. I know you've read Flashpoint. You've read Flashpoint, Jack. Think about
Things
it.
Can go bad.
Yeah,
things can go bad.
You're wise. You have many years.
I do think I would do things for good, not evil. But yeah, no, you're right. Still, things can go bad.
Barry was just trying to save his mom. When you go back and kill Hitler, and you realize that created Hitler Godzilla. Thanks, Jack.
Yeah. No. When I said super speed, I wasn't thinking time travel. Although, there's that. I was thinking about, like you said, being able to do a lot of things, be in a lot of different places, Jamie Madrox style, and keeping it a little more streamlined than going all out and going killing Hitler or something like that. Yeah, no.
That's how you make Hitler Godzilla.
That's right.
No one wants Hitler Godzilla. Okay.
No, Hitler.
No one. No one anywhere, ever.
Yeah, no.
Like, but for a funny image, just for a funny image in your head, real quick, Jack. Imagine Godzilla with that little mustache.
Yeah, that is a funny image. Oh, you made me laugh there. So,
right. So everybody think of that, right? And I want you all to know, like I said, click the links in the description. You can find all of Jack's work. Jack, it's been a phenomenal conversation, man.
Thank you, Jack.
I appreciate you coming by for a quest. Right. Now, for everyone out there, we got to do that last little bit, right? And if you've enjoyed this quest, what I want you to do is, one, go click them links, man. Check out Jack's work. Pick something up, right? And also, you just send him a dragon, right? With a throne of velvet on top for him to sit on. Well, he does nothing. What did I do? Oh, that's some bullshit. Wait a second. I know. Oh, I remembered it. Right? That's fair, though. But right now, that's okay. You send him a dragon with a throne of velvet for him to ride upon and just an endless supply of Mr. Big. Right? See, I was trying to flip that around and I flipped that around. Now, that's if you enjoyed this quest. And, you know, you enjoyed Jack. You liked his opinions. If for some reason you didn't, firstly, again, why are you here? Don't hate watch. There's so many better things to do. Like hydrate, for the love of God. But if you didn't enjoy this quest, what I want you to do, right, is I want you to send a terrible pack of zombies. And look, we're going to make it really bad. Because we're going to put a mix of old school Romero and the Day of the Dead remakes. Right? But in such a manner to where they're just running around you and the Day of the Dead are just there to make sure you keep in while you're trying like hell to avoid the Romeros, who for some reason, absolutely reek, my friend, of liver. Right? Right? And if you can get out of that, Jack, then Cypress Hill. You want to be a rock superstar? Should certainly be your theme song. But me personally, I remember the Rap Superstar version because they put several versions of that out, man. There's all kinds of quests y'all can go check out. Besides that, I just want all y'all out there to do 3 things. 1, if you want, click a button. I don't rightly care. I hope you've enjoyed it. Besides that, always get your Comic Con and have a good night,
Thanks so
y'all.
much for hopping on board and listening to the questionnaire.
Keep a listening out to these crazy guys.
The questionnaire.
I missed something.
Like and subscribe.
You're drunk. Go home.
Thanks for checking out the questionnaire.
Don't have a good day. Have a great day.